Howdy there. So last night, I watched the Blu-ray of Restrepo. It's a film that I have been waiting, it's a documentary, that I have been waiting for quite some time to see. I saw the trailer in the theater, and it did come out in the theaters, but it was only out very briefly, and only on maybe 2 or 3 screens in all of the city of Los Angeles, so not a very wide release. And unfortunately, I did not get a chance to see it in the big screen, and I've been waiting some time for this Blu-ray to be available. It's been on very long wait for a very long time on my Blockbuster program. So it finally, I got to see it, and I would say that it's worth the wait. If you've watched any of my reviews or know me at all, you know that I am a big fan of documentaries. I think, documentaries really exercise the true power of film. Basically because I think film is an excellent educational tool. And it can teach you something about the world, about the topic, and about yourself, all in 90 minutes. So I really, really, really enjoy documentaries, no matter what the subject. And it also kind of, skews my rankings because really my ratings are all personal anyway, and documentaries hit me on such a personal level that I can't help but think that every documentary is, truly affecting and important. I'll go with a 9 here. I'm not giving it a 10, and now I'm thinking, why am I not giving it a 10? And that's because, maybe it remained too neutral, and boy, that doesn't sound right at all, because a documentary is supposed to remain neutral. It's not supposed to be propaganda. And this in no way is propaganda, I don't feel. It does remain neutral, but something, there's just something about it, I was left unsatisfied with the end, though now I think, when is war ever satisfying? War does not reach a satisfying end. It's a great film. It's a great film. I don't know why I'm not giving it a 10, and that is just a feeling in my heart. I can't say that it's a 10. Probably because it's not too traditional. It's about. I almost feel that I should just read the description. It was directed. It wasn't written. Again, you've got a platoon. You've got a platoon in the worst, most dangerous spot in our war on terror, up against, the Al-Qaeda stronghold in the Korengal Valley. Again, constant war, firefights every single day, no rest at all, no peace. It seems like a hellish place, though it also seemed beautiful. So you've got this platoon or troop of the army in this terrible place, and you have apparently 2 filmmakers. I kind of thought they were soldiers as well, but apparently they are filmmakers, dropped in with the rest of the crew. And they're in the line of fire. They have just as much chance of getting killed as the soldiers. So I think it's very brave on the filmmakers' part. They obviously had a lot of passion here. They needed to show what was going on over there. So it's 1 year. The subtitle of the film is Restrepo, 1 platoon, 1 valley, 1 year. So it's basically a assemblage. It's 90 minutes. It's a 90-minute assemblage of a year's worth of action. So, the film could have been much longer. I imagine. And I mean, it's basically gives you a unparalleled look into war and what it's like to be at war. The mindset that a soldier has to have. I mean, it really, it's just so important. You know, I feel that this should be required watching for Americans and for anyone for that matter, because that's, you know, probably why I'm not giving it a 10, is because of the enormous sense of guilt that I felt by watching the film. Is like, here I am, some overfed fat American, sitting in my, you know, comfortable room, and kids are dying, you know, halfway around the world. They're doing it because we're telling them to, without much reward or anything, you know, to come home to after. And it just makes you realize, really, unless, compared to these guys, how worthless you are. You know, it's like how you don't really deserve to be breathing the same air that these gentlemen do. So it's a real eye-opener. It's like, what can you possibly do in your life to even compare to what one of these guys does for one day? You know, it's tremendous, and I think that every person should see it to earn that, you know, respect if they don't have it, which is pretty insane, I think, if you don't respect the armed services, if you don't respect someone who will give your life, who will give their life for, you know, some lives of people they've never met, then if you can't respect that, you've got problems. But you need to watch this film, is what you need to do. So I mean, it just puts you there. I mean, you are there. You are in battle. You see death. You see bullets landing next to your feet. You see bullets flying over your head. You are there. You also get to see the country. Let's see, where is it? Well, it doesn't say. I guess I should know, shouldn't I? Afghanistan. They're in Afghanistan. Again, being a typical uninformed American, I picture Afghanistan as mostly desert, mountainous terrain. Here it's honestly quite gorgeous, and it reminded me a lot of seeing Machu Picchu. You know, they had that leveled... Yeah, it was just, you know, gorgeous. Really gorgeous land. That made me appreciate this land that I've never been to and know nothing about. It also gives you access to the people that live there, the traditions and customs that you may not know of. So again, it gives this, it's a first-hand document of our current, you know, situation, of our current war, and, you know, life, pretty much. It's very difficult to watch. You know, people do die, and these are real people. Real people do die, you know, while you're watching the film. So it's very troubling. It's very intense. It's not for the weak or faint of heart. And you see the nightmares of war, and then you see these young men compensate for that, and it's really quite beautiful to see humans survive. You know, they're not doing anything more than surviving, and to see the camaraderie, to see joy and hope in the face of almost certain death and your friends dying around you. You know, it's very powerful. You know, and that's, again, that's the whole point of what a documentary should be. It should affect you on a soulful level, you know, and you should not be the same after watching a good documentary, and I definitely did not feel the same. The ending, again, I talked about how can there ever be a satisfying ending to war. There's not, you know. There's nothing satisfactory about war. And it's the same kind of thing here. It's, I almost don't want to give away the ending, but, you know, you can easily learn the ending by research, any simple amount of research, but, you know, they basically pull out of the position. And you think about all the people that lost their lives trying to hold that position, to achieve that position, and then just at some point to go, you know, it is heartbreaking. And it's very open-ending. I mean, we throughout the film are interviews mixed in with the fighting action, our talking heads interviews of the troops back home, which kind of give you a sense of security knowing that some of the soldiers you're watching are going to make it back. You know, they're not all going to die. And then they have a very open ending. We don't know the ending of their stories because how they're going to adjust to life back in America, how they're going to adjust to life at all is unseen and is left with this overwhelming sense of, you know, foreboding in a way. It's like, what is going to happen to these people? And there's no nice little bow at the end. There's no nice little the end. You know, it's just life. You know, it continues. It keeps on going, and it leaves you feeling unsatisfied and worried in a way. So it does remain neutral. It doesn't, you know, outright say that America is wrong, because again, America does get a bum rap about what it does in war, rightly so. In no way should innocents die, but you get to see that here again. You get to watch innocents die while watching this film, and you get to see how they try and handle that in an impossible scenario, in a scenario that no human would want to be in, let alone imagine, let alone be in. You get to see how they kind of handle that, and how can you handle killing 6 innocent people? You know, how can there be any how can there be any good positive outcome to that? And the answer is there's not. But they try and make it work. You know, they try. And truth be told, there's fighting on both sides. You know, it's war. I don't know what else to say about it. I'm running out of time. I think it's incredibly important. I think that it should be required viewing. If I were a high school teacher, I think this should be required high school viewing. I think it should just be required viewing, period. If you are an American, you should see this film, and it will open your eyes to something that you may not be aware of. Probably not aware of. And if anything, it will make you appreciate our armed services even more so, though you probably already do, as well as you should. But a tremendous film. A tremendous film. It's Restrepo. I've got to give it a 9 because it made me feel tremendously guilty and uneasy. So there you go. Thanks.